Hallelujah, Abba Yahweh. Told Abba Yahweh for another day, able to come before you as a Hebrew. I told Abba Yahweh for his mercy, his blessing, and make us rich and add no sorrow with it. Told Abba Yahweh because as a Hebrew, you have to be the same yesterday and today and forevermore. Because Yahweh is the same yesterday and today and forevermore. And his people have to worship him in spirit and in truth, for he seeketh such to worship him. Today is a day of great grievous in the land, throughout the four corners of the earth. The earth is coming to something that you're not seeing. And you're not seeing it because you don't want no part of it. Into judgment, whether it be a nation or a man. In the book of Galatians, I've been trying to tell you, I'm going to go over in the book of Galatians, and I've been saying this to you, chapter 6, verse 7 and 8. And I want to say it to the nation of the world, because the world is in judgment of his maker and creator. And Yahweh is letting the nation see and understand what and who they are. But you don't see and understand who they are as a nation. So I'm going to declare unto you today who they are as a people of a nation. Be not deceived. Yahweh is not mocked. Is not mocked. For whatsoever a man soweth, that shall he also reap. If you sow it, you're going to reap it. If you sow forth righteousness, you're going to reap righteousness. You sow forth wickedness and evil, you're going to reap evil and wickedness. Yahweh is not mocked. You can't mock the creator that you have never seen. And you can't mock the one that put the breath of life in you and take it from you in the day that he want to judge you. You can't mock him. Because that day gonna come. That season in life gonna come to an end. And you're gonna reap what you have sowed while you've been in the full season of life, not sowing forth righteousness and truth, and having mercy, and keeping your body as a living sacrifice unto him, holy, which is your reasonable service. Romans chapter 12, verse 1. As a Hebrew man, I know this body, this tabernacle, this temple, I want it to be holy, for I can feel his presence in me being holy. And anything outside that is not holy, I don't want no part of, because I don't want to defile myself with unholy things. That's what the Hebrew men in the book of Daniel and Hebrew brothers was declaring unto King Nebuchadnezzar. I don't want to eat your food and defile myself with you. I can be in your midst, but I'm not going to be defiled by your midst. I'm not going to try to fit in with the rest of the Babylonian men and stuff. I'm a Hebrew, of the Hebrew, the stock of Abraham, the tribe of Dan, the lawgiver. And as being in the tribe of Dan, I come forth knowing that the law, if it's going to be fulfilled in me, I have to be holy, to speak holy, to walk holy, to live holy, to execute the judgment of his law. That's what the Ruach Kodesh came to do. It came to reproof the world of sin, of righteousness, and of judgment. And if you got the Holy Spirit and you can't deal with judgment, you ain't holy. You ain't been holy. And that's been the nation of the world today. But he's calling his people out of the world and bringing them into a place of refuge in him, not them. Ain't no refuge in them. The refuge is in Yahweh. Yahweh is a place of refuge for his people, in him. For he that soweth to his flesh shall of the flesh reap corruption. Now, you don't see what you have sowed in your flesh. But the nation have sowed in your flesh also. The nations have sowed in your flesh also. And I'm going to declare and show it unto you how the nation has sowed in your flesh as people, because you have not turned to your maker. You have not turned to seek comfort in him. But he that sowed to the Spirit shall of the Spirit reap life everlasting. I was a Hebrew yesterday. I'm a Hebrew now, speaking this word unto you by the Spirit of truth. And I'll be a Hebrew tomorrow if the sun rise, with me in it. My wife and my son will be Hebrew as a family that worship Yahweh in spirit and in truth. If the sun rise tomorrow, with us in it. So, declaring that unto you in Galatians 6, 7, and 8. Chapter 6, verse 7 and 8. He is not mocked. But I'm going to declare unto the nations, this is for the four corners of the earth, and the people that got ears to hear what the Spirit is saying. What is taking place with us? You're perplexed on every side. You're trouble on every side. You're perplexed because of the things that are coming upon the world. The gas prices, the things that are being taken away from you, that you always thought you would have with you because you took it for granted, not knowing there are 4 seasons in life that you have to live by. One of these seasons you ain't going to be living by. Things going to take place with you in it. And who do you going to turn to then in the time of trouble? Because you're still breathing, you're still living, and you're still doing the same things in your ways, attitude, and behavior. The same things. In the book of Job, Job had 3 friends that were close to him. In his time of affliction, they thought he had committed a sin and transgression. But it was the hand of the wicked one that Yahweh said, you can touch him, but not his soul. His soul is mine. You can touch his flesh and you can afflict him. But he ain't going to deny me. Me and your conversation, Job has no understanding about it. It's between you asking me for permission to come against my servant, to afflict him, to try him, to prove him whether he will curse you or not. You're being afflicted, but you're doing everything it is besides turning to your maker and creator to trust him in your affliction. To trust him with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength. That's your love being proven who you serve. So one of Job's friends was trying to declare unto him the ways of the wicked, what take place with the wicked, and how they come about, and what happened to them in the will of Yahweh. What I'm going to read to you may affect you. It might be a mirror before your face, but it's concerning a nation or a person, man or woman. But it's for the nations of the world. One man can control the multitude of people. And if that one man goes astray in the midst of the multitude of the people are left with a spirit of oppressing. Because the oppressor have moved away. And they don't know what to do because they were doing things upon the oppressing spirit. In the book of Job, 34th chapter, verse 21. Job 34:21. I'm going to start here. And I'm going to read this unto you for you to have a complete understanding concerning the matter of a nation or a person. For his eyes are upon the ways of man, and he see all his going. There's nothing hid from the man going, or the woman going. What she buy, what she put on, and what she come out of the house with is not hid from his eyes. It's being recorded. Her attitude, her behavior, and her ways. Just like it is with the man. There is no darkness. Verse 22. There is no darkness, nor shadow of death, where the workers of iniquity, the sinners, may hide themselves. And you better understand, wherever you're trying to hide yourself in, your iniquity, your work that you're doing is not hid from the angels of Yahweh. That's recording everything you're saying and doing and who you serve, to whom you obey. You're servant too. For he will not lay upon man more than right. What is right? He's not going to lay upon man what is right. Man has a conscience to make a decision based on what is right, and for the people in authority that he's sitting in to not afflict them with his authority that he's been placed in. So your judges that you have in America has taken away your voting right in the midst of what you thought was right to vote for. But you have never seen your human rights, because your human rights is not based on voting rights. You're a human being. And as a human being, you have something that you don't have to vote for. You don't have to have someone to tell you, we need you to represent us in our rights. You've forgotten who you are. You don't need voting to express what is right in the heart and mind of a human being. You have put yourself in the position that you're reaping what you have sown. And in 1965, when you got voting right established by this administration of the United States of America, you thought you was free people, because you've been oppressed upon the system that oppressed you. Not just the black, not just the white, not the Native American brothers and sisters, or the Latino brothers and sisters, or the Asian brothers and sisters, or the human race. We talking about all race of the human being. The human being. Before I go any further, let's go in the book of Acts. Acts 17 chapter, verse 23. When Paul was declaring unto them on his journey into this place, he was seeing them with a deity they was worshiping, an unknown deity. He going to declare unto them the true creator, not man. Man made that deity. It didn't make itself. But who made man and woman and gave them the seed to replenish themselves in their kind was their maker. For as I passed by and behold your devotions, I found an altar with this inscription: to the unknown deity, whom therefore ye ignorantly worship him, declare I unto you. Yahweh that made the world and all things therein, Now you have forgotten that you was made, and you're part of these things that are in the world. Your human right is not based on civil right or voting rights. Your human right is based on you being a human being with a living soul. Seeing that he is master of heaven and earth, dwelleth not in temple made with hands. Hands make buildings. Building is made by man. But who has made man and woman to do these things in the earth that they are doing is their maker and creator of heaven and earth that they dwell in. Earth, the water, the air you breathe. You have forgotten that you're a human being. You acting like, talking like, looking like you some creature that was manifest through a laboratory. That's what you were made on an assembly line. Neither is worship with man hands, as though he need anything, seeing he giveth to all life, to all life, and breath, and all things. You have forgotten this. You think your voting right give you life, breath, and all things. If you don't vote, you don't count. That's when you thinking that you're not part of a human race. You're part of a human race. Whether you vote or not, you are part of the human race. Because when Yahweh take his breath, you're no longer in the earth. When you can't walk and you can't talk, but you're still breathing, it's because you're being afflicted by something, and he had to allow that affliction to come upon you for you to understand that you're a human being. That you need him, to seek him, to ask him questions about your salvation, your soul. Let's read on. Verse 26. And had made of one blood all nations of men, for to dwell on all the face of the earth. That's what you have forgotten. That we as human beings, you don't have to vote for your blood. What you gonna do, what you gonna say, how you gonna eat, how you gonna dress, how you gonna work, how you gonna do things. You don't have to vote for that. You don't need another man to put you in the position that you need to vote for what you know that is right to be doing. One to another. You don't need a man for that. You got one blood of all man in one earth. This earth. We all dwell in this earth as human beings. When you discriminate and when you hate someone that got one blood just like you better realize with inside of you is hate dwelling by a spirit that has forgotten who created these human beings. Because Satan created his kind, the tares, among the wheat. While man slept, the devil sowed his tares among the wheat. His kind, his disciples, his followers. And they is trying to take the breath of life out of you. They're trying to take the blood out of the body. They're trying to make you separate yourself one from another, that you won't understand the human race. Even if you're adulterous, a fornicator, a whoremonger, a liar, a backbiter, you're still part of the human race. With that part of the human race, you got a chance to repent and ask for forgiveness. You got a chance to turn from your ways. You still got this inside of you. He giveth to all life and breath and all things, and have made of one blood all nations of men to dwell on the face of the earth, and had determined the time before appointed and the bounds of their habitation. Their bounds. What over here is another race. Over here is another race. Over here is another race. Back here is another race. In the four corners of the earth, they still human beings. They still human beings. Why would you want to kill yourself in the midst of a warfare when you dropping bombs, you killing children that depending on their parents to help them and feed them and nourish them and cherish them, and they're not hating them, they're trying to love them, and you dropping your bombs on them to kill them? Don't you know you're killing the human race? And when you're killing the human race, you can't say you been doing good, because you can't discern who's in that house and who's not in that house that is doing evil or doing good. Because in the midst of you, whoever's dropping those bombs on these people are doing evil. Not just to the people, to the earth also. Because it's causing the earth to go into a shock. And if you keep shocking this earth, the earth gonna wake up and shock you back. It gonna shock you back with things that you have never can't even imagine what it can do to us as human beings. I want you to read this right here. Verse 28. I want you to read this and you understand what I'm saying as a nation of people. For in him we live and move and have our beings. Without him, you can't live, you can't move, you can't have your being operating in your body. You want to pay your respect by getting up, going to church. You want to pay your respect by being part of an organization or religion. You want to pay your respect by doing things that you can move and go from and come back from. But you're not paying your respect to your maker and creator in doing these things and loving him and putting yourself into position to know how to live among the human race, how to greet one another and care for one another and need one another. You're not doing those things. You're so individualism. You're so self-centered about yourself. You're so self-indulged with your own ways and your own attitude and your own behavior. You can't see anything else in front of you. Let's go back over the book of Job. And I'm going to let you see this and understand what I just read to you in the book of Acts. For he will lay upon man more than right that he should enter into judgment with his creator. He got to enter into judgment with Yahweh. He got to ask about justice and righteousness and truth. He got to ask about what have I done today that is right in your sight? What have I done today that can bring forth your loving kindness? What have I done today that can show forth your loving kindness to somebody that don't know what loving kindness represent? Because it ain't been shown to them. He shall break in pieces mighty men without number and set order in their stead. He'll put other people in place of them because Yahweh is not mocked. Let me read on. Therefore he knows their work, and he overturns them in the night so that they are destroyed. He'll overturn them in the night so that they are destroyed. Now, this is the way of the wicked. And it's true. But it was not Job that his friend was declaring that Job was this wicked man. Job was not. Everything this man was saying is true, his friend. But it was the wrong person. What I'm saying today, before you, is the right person. The right people in the earth today. Let's read on. Verse 26, he striped them as wicked men in the open sight of others, because they turned back from him and would not consider any of his ways. That means every imagination of man's mind is only evil continue when he won't consider any of Yahweh's ways. Righteousness and truth, mercy, love and kindness, compassion, understanding. Sit down and have the matter that caused you to be contention one toward another discuss and come to a point that you can even admit that you was wrong. For peace sake, for love and kindness sake, to say I was wrong. Forgive me. I meant no harm. I didn't meant to do this. Please don't take this personal. I repent. I won't do it ever again. But don't hate me as I said something or did something, because hate gonna rule you. It'll take over your mind. Let's read on. So that they caused the cry of the poor to come unto him, and hear the cry of the afflicted. This is what the wicked would do. This is what a nation of people would do in the midst of other people who they rule over. Because if every nation on the face of the earth having a voting who they put in place, you have erred greatly. If you vote every 4 years to put a man in place to govern you and to govern the nation of people, but you put judges in place and you give them a lifetime commitment, you can't correct them in the things that they're doing. You should have placed also for the judges and what they was doing 4 years. So if that judge in 4 years don't have his house in order, don't have his mind on behalf of the poor and needed, then you replace him with your voting right. But you gave them right to last forever until they die. That is unjust. It's not fair to the poor and needed that they judge matters and can't be corrected themselves. Now, when you form the government and you declare unto this government that we have a house that the government has put in place to govern the United States, but we call the house the White House. You have placed in there a priority of people that say they are white and their privilege is in the White House. Because you did not put the privilege of all blood and nation and nationality by calling it the house of the people. You place it up on the one race, White House. And now you expect for it to be right before you when you haven't been right yourself with all human race. Of all the people in the United States of America and all the people in the world of their nation, this is the only nation on the face of the earth that has declared its people house is white for white people. But the Constitution has said, of the people, for the people, by the people. And yet, the people house is not theirs. The rest of the race has no part of that. If you want to change and turn, you're going to have to understand what change and turn mean. When you put something in wrong place, you put something wrong, you got to consider it and say, I need to change that. That is wrong. But if no one address you, no one tell you that you are wrong by what you have put in place, then you need to understand how Yahweh bring his ministers to declare unto you you're wrong. To declare unto you what you have spoken was wrong. What you have did was wrong. Now to correct that, you got to make it right. and you got to show that you are humble enough to walk with your Creator, so His mercy will be upon you, and you will understand the love and kindness of His goodness in the land of the living. Because you keep calling this house the White House. You have never introduced this as the people house. So the Constitution is cut in half. You got the White House, then you got the Constitution. Where is the people house? You rule over that. It's supposed to be for the people, not for a man. Let me read on. When he giveth quietness, who can, verse 29, when he giveth quietness, who then can make trouble? Question to you. If he give you quietness in his spirit, that means he protecting you. Who can make trouble to you then? Whoever you voted for, whatever you did, they can't still trouble you when Yahweh make quietness for you. But if Yahweh don't make quietness for you, you got trouble according to what these people going to do to you. And when he hide his face, who then can behold him? When he hide, he don't answer your prayer, he don't even favor you no more. Who can behold him and say, hey, why you turn from me? Why you leave me like this? You don't understand the way of the Spirit. You can't discern the way of the Spirit. You can discern evil if you have the Ruach Kodesh, the Holy Spirit, but you can't discern Yahweh. Notice that, who can behold him? Whether it be done against a nation. Now you can't behold Yahweh in this nation no more. There's a reason why. Or or against a man only. Now Yahweh deal with a nation this way or a man only. And you gonna understand why he deal with a man only or a nation when you can't behold him. When he's no longer in your presence, when he's no longer in your mind, when he's no longer in your conscious decision you making with your family or with other people, family that is in the country of a nation. You got to understand that Yahweh is not mocked. If you sow this, and you sow voting right, and you reaping it back now. You sold this. Martin Luther King, one that brought you in to tell you as human being you needed voting rights. When your right was already given to you as a human being. You had your rights. To know how to live, how to work, how to eat, how to sleep, how to treat one another, how to love the other human race. You didn't need to vote for that. You was born with that. You was born and given the right to speak to another race. They're human beings. You was given the right if you wanted to love, truly love another man, another woman of another claim, another nationality, another race. You was given that because that love is genuine and it's sincere and it's true. You was given that. Now, if you think it's not so, then you want to say, well, I'm going to love my own race. Within your own race of the human race, then you can't even love your own brother or your own sister enough. And that's without sex being involved. You ain't designed to have your own brother or sister, but the attitude and behavior won't let you love perfection in your own brother and sister of your own household. Because of your attitude and your behavior. So when they come to another person in a different race to show you love and kindness and show you goodness and show you mercy, then you want to embrace yourself with that person. And you want to sit down and have counsel with that person. And you want that person to understand what you have in you and what she have in her, that you can come together as one. That's man and woman. Of the same blood, the same moves, the same life, the same liberty. And you don't need to vote for that. That is given to you to make that decision who you should be with. Whether it be Yahweh turn his face from you, a nation or a man, in the book of Psalms, let's turn over to the book of Psalms, it's given to you. But you have been like you came off an assembly line. Like you've been programmed to understand that you're machines, not human beings. You're acting like machines. You think your life is crushed because of voting rights. Martin Luther King had a chance to tell all the people of the world in America to hear his speech concerning to the United States government, let the people go that they may serve their creator, their maker. Let them go and be free. Let them have their liberty within this country to build and plant, to sow and reap. Let them have land to do what they need to do for their family. Let them have what they need as human beings to live by. The rules of what they are doing one to another as neighbors. But no, he brought you into Pharaoh. He brought you back into the house of bondage, that you had to ask for permission. And asking for permission, you needed to vote. And voting, you needed to cast a balance. And casting a balance, you needed someone to represent you on behalf of what you think and how you act. Your liberty was gone then. And you haven't came back to it yet. As a human being. In the book of Psalms, 9th chapter. I'm going to start at verse 7. You ought to read this whole book of Psalms yourself. But I'm going to start at verse 7 and see what Yahweh declared here. In the spirit of David, King David. But Yahweh shall endurance forever. He had prepared his throne for judgment. The book of Tehillim, chapter 9, verse 7. The book of Psalms. And he shall judge the world in righteousness. He's going to judge this world in righteousness. Every nation that is upon the face of the earth going to be judged in righteousness. In righteousness. He shall minister judgment to the people in uprightness. Now, he going to minister. That's going to be the Ruach Hadash. When the Comforter comes, it going to minister us. And it going to be judging us as well as within and without concerning righteousness and truth. Yahweh also will be a refuge for the oppressed. A refuge in the time of trouble. You not acting like a human being, and you can't consider your ways and your attitude, and you think you can figure out everything under the sun to do it yourself with your individualism spirit, you ain't gonna find no refuge in Yahweh. You ain't gonna find no refuge nowhere to be found near Yahweh, because you can't find it. You can't find his place of refuge. But I'm going to tell you where that. In the book of Psalms, again. I'm going to read on. We're going to come right back to this. Tehillim, chapter 91. And I'm going to read this to you, for you can see where the refuge going to be found at. We, not he, but we, that dwell in the secret place of the Most High, shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. We will say of Yahweh, He's our refuge and our fortune, our Creator, and in Him will we trust. Surely He shall deliver us from the snare of the fowls and from the noisome pestilence, disease, and sickness. He shall cover us with His feathers, and under His wings shall we trust. His truth shall be our shield and buckler. We shall not be afraid for the terror by night, nor for the arrow that flies by day, nor for the pestilence that walk in darkness, nor for the destruction that wastes at noonday. 1,000 shall fall at our side, and 10,000 at our right hand, but it shall not come near us. Only with our eyes shall we behold and see the reward of the wicked. Because we have made Yahweh, which is our refuge. We have. I don't know about you, but I have, and my wife have, and my son have, because we bring him up in the way he should go. So when he get old, he won't depart from this way in Yahweh. His refuge is in Yahweh. We have, because we have made Yahweh, which is our refuge, even the Most High, our habitation. There shall no evil befall us, neither shall any plague come near our dwelling. Now, when you read this on right here, you will see how our refuge is in Him, because He's in us. And if Yahweh is not in you, you ain't going to deceive Him. You ain't going to mislead Him as a nation or a person. If Yahweh is not in that nation, we're going to read on. Let's come back. The book of Psalm, 9th chapter. And I'm going to come down here. The verse, I want you to read on. I'm going to come down here to verse 16. I want you to read this whole thing, but what I'm going to get to is the end of it. Yahweh is known by the judgment which He executed. The wicked is snared in the work of his own hand. And like I said, you're crying and you're moaning for your civil rights, your voting right, but you're not crying and moaning for your soul that He has placed in your body that is right. That you move and you live and you have your being. You're not crying for that. Hegon, Salah. Verse 17. The wicked shall be turned into hell, and all the nations that forget Yahweh. And all the nations, not some of them, not most of them, not part of them. All nations shall be turned into the grave or pit, meaning death, dying, famine, pestilence. All of them will be turned into darkness, the grave, the pit. That's what hell means, a burial place. For the needy shall not always be forgotten. The expectation of the poor shall not perish forever. Yahweh going. All those people that are crying and moaning and suffering in Gaza, in Lebanon, in the Appalachian of this country, in the mountain, that has never came out to seek government assistance. But they're crying and moaning for what the government is doing to them inside of the mountain, in the woods that they're living by. Yahweh's not going to forget them. But you to think you got right on your side by voting, Yahweh going to leave you to yourself and you're going to reap what you sow. Well, minister, what is you saying? We shouldn't vote? If you don't vote, you don't count. But the point that you're going to have to examine and understand, what do you count for as a human being? He's not telling you you're not a human. Just telling you if you don't vote, you don't count for what the government going to do to you or for you. That's it. To you or for you. But Yahweh, your maker, is dealing with the government of people. Because once again, you think you have came off a assembly line. Let's read on. Verse 19. Arise, O Yahweh, let not man prevail. Let the heathen be judged in your sight. The heathen, the Gentile, the Christian nations. Let them be judged in your sight. Put them in fear. Now this, what Dawid said. Put them in fear, in trembling, in reverence towards you. Because you don't have that today. You don't have no reverence, no fear, no concern concerning your maker and creator. What he gonna do with your living soul and your living body that he made and created and let you move and have your being, let you breathe and walk the face of the earth, and you think you need voting rights. Put them in fear, O Yahweh, that the nations may know themselves to be but men. You have forgotten that these men's gonna be dealt with. These men gonna be judged according to their deeds. They got the same breath, their life, they move just like you. They got the same blood in them just like you. You have stumbled in judgment. You have prevented the way of righteousness. You have came into a system that you think you can't